Good morning, this is Alamon, and welcome back to City Skylines Biketown. I have to say, this has been kind of a fun city, but I'm I'm quite disappointed in a lot of the design choices that I made. I really did not design the traffic stuff well. I mean, look at this ridiculous spaghetti. I was just doing this totally ad hoc, really, just, finding one little traffic problem and snaking another road through. And we ended up with some truly ugly things in this town. It doesn't work very well overall. Now, I do actually quite like the look of this neighborhood with the bike lanes. The one main drag that's only a 4-lane road, so it's still not super high speed. It's still pretty, friendly for residential purposes. Intersecting with this other 4-lane road. I mean, there are things here that I think are pretty attractive. I also really liked... sorry to spin around the camera so much. I really liked this little area right here. Unfortunately, we can't see the road grid very clearly. I guess this helps to highlight it, at least with the dark spaces. But the way that we had these two grids, the green one and the orangish yellow, meet with this area in the middle, I really quite liked how those shapes worked out. But yeah, this was a poorly designed city in many respects. So on my own time, I've been working on a different one that I called New Traffic Design, because my idea was I was going to sort of try out some ideas on the same map. Oh gosh, is it nighttime on this map too? I was really hoping that we would have daytime. I guess I could go to the options and turn off nighttime. I haven't really been playing around with those features very much. And as pretty as the cities can look at night, it does make it a little more difficult to play. Yeah, this is nighttime too. Alright, so here is, the grand entrance. Things look a little messy right here, but actually a lot of these roads aren't quite necessary. Like that quick exit and these last-second on-ramps aren't that necessary. What it does, though, is I extend the highway. That was my first mistake in the old map. I just went straight to sort of normal roads. Whereas in this, I have a highway, and then I have this interchange. I'm sure that there are better service interchange designs than this. Actually, I know that there are. I'm 100% sure that there are. But this is pretty compact, and it's pretty easy to build without using a pre-created asset. So the radius of this circle, by the way, is 24. So basically, to build that, I start in one spot. I may as well just quickly build one right now. Go out 12. And then just go around the circle. 12, 12, 12. Whoops, that was 13, because I am bad at this. And then just, fill in the highway with the freeform tool. 90 degrees, bup, 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 bup. Delete your guides. And there you have a nice big traffic circle that you can pipe the highway over. Yeah, I may as well just demonstrate the whole thing. It doesn't take long. So here we're 12 meters up. I usually like to have one support pillar right before and then right after the traffic circle, just to prevent issues with, the game getting confused and being like, I can't go over that. The spacing's all wrong. So I like to just manually kind of force it the way I want. Yeah, and actually I have to extend this further. I'm kind of wrecking some stuff on this map, but I'm not going to save this. And then, you just stick in our ramps. We can make this, or we can do this a little more carefully if we really want everything to look nice and neat. But that's the basic idea. And it works pretty well. It can jam up, but it works pretty well. And then you have your trunk roads, or your feeder roads, or whatever, coming straight off. Okay, I didn't do that very straight, but that's the idea. So I have one of those there, and this is the first part of my town. Actually, let me leave that on, because it makes it clear what the types of things are. I'll get back to that in a minute. Okay. So I had the beginnings of my residential area here. It eventually grew into a much larger area as I grew the map. So like I said, we have our main trunk, like feeder roads coming off of this traffic circle. I made that commercial. I think that was actually a mistake because there are a lot of delivery trucks. So I maybe should have made this just residential because you don't get as much. I mean, you do get ambulances and you do get hearses that stop on residential streets. The alternative would be just to not zone this at all and just have service buildings on the main road. I think that's also a good idea, but it might not be very sustainable. You'd have a lot of unused space. Anyway, these interchanges, yeah, always try to keep pedestrians out of these intersections because they do get very crowded very fast. So we use the 4-lane roads to cross the 6-lane road so that the 6-lane road gets overall priority. It gets a longer signal. And then these are just long enough to give a fairly decent queue for cars waiting to enter the intersection, or for cars, indeed, who are leaving the intersection. Give traffic a little bit of time to clear out so we don't get as much gridlock. At the ends of these... Actually, this is not the way I usually do these. Let me find another one. Here we go. This is how I usually do it. I have a 2-lane one-way road at the top. So again, here's the big intersection. So then from here, all traffic turns this way, or traffic comes down here or across. You don't have a signal here, which is good. And it just helps traffic flow more smoothly. Let's see, what should I show off here? Alright, over here I have a bus depot, which seems to work tolerably well. I have quite a few lines here. One interesting thing that I did that I have quite liked is I decided to make my buses a little bit more like subways. And so I used the Traffic++ mod to have bus lane. I just noticed that the cursor has a light that follows it. I never noticed that before. So I mean, normally, you know, when you have a building or tool selected, it glows with stuff anyway, but just the cursor by itself has a little spotlight. That's cool. So I have this bus lane. How do I want to do this? I'm just trying to look underground. Actually, I guess if I just select no tools, and then up here I say traffic. There. Although I do want to see the bus lines. Why am I not... Oh, it doesn't show the lines on the map. I see. But you can see, yeah, the buses go underground into the tunnel. And this prevents them from encountering any traffic. And then I have different places where buses can pop out. So here, serving this residential area. Coming up here to serve this industrial area. There's also a subway line here, which is separate. You see, the bus line does not actually intersect the subway line. Speaking of subway, I guess we can look at that next. We have a station right here by that bus depot. And we have another station here. This is sort of our main transportation hub. There's not a whole lot in the area for people to be interested in, but Wait a minute. Here we go. Now we can see zoning. I think that's actually good, though. So this is a secondary bus depot that has routes for, you know, this chunk of the map. It has our train station, and it has a subway station. So multimodal transit hub. Subway then continues to this area, and this is our main residential district. The largest single residential district. It has some bus lines that feed people into the subway station. People often also walk to the subway station. It does tend to cause quite a lot of traffic, but we have a pretty cool traffic flow setup. So most of these are two-way, two-lane streets. But then right in the middle here, I have, you know, the bottom one here goes to the right, and then up, and then to the left, and then down. And this helps to keep the traffic moving. I was getting a lot of gridlock here until I stuck in, you know, the cross streets as one-way streets, and then that really cleared things up. Yeah, we're not even seeing a spot of red, although it is nighttime. So yeah, subway hits that. Then the subway continues across the river, and this area is extremely busy. We have a subway station, yeah, 1845 passengers there. A bunch of people also use the bus station here. And I know we can't see here very well, but we have another residential area. We have a bunch of offices, and then it's also a very dense commercial area as well. And again, in each of these cases, I'm using this design where my main arteries are the 6-lane roads, and then I have these short little trunks that just serve to, you know, suck the traffic off of the 6-lane road and then stick it onto the 2-lane road grids. Did a lot of experimentation with one-way streets versus not using one-way streets. And the... let's look at highways, actually. So this was our first highway, of course. You know, this is where you start on this map. I eventually built across to connect through to that highway connection as well. And then remember, we just built this here. This is not actually an important thing, so we can forget about that. Then the highway continues off the map. There's a little bend that comes up here, and I took advantage of that to make a very compact little interchange. This was the biggest I could make. This is also where all of my incinerators are, so that the incinerators, or the garbage trucks, can just pop right up onto the highway and get wherever they need to go. So then I continued this highway up here. I had another one of those traffic circle things to feed the highway, mostly. Although we also have this little bit here. I could have built up this area more, but I just haven't done that yet. It took me a while to get these lined up. They're not perfect, but they're very close. And I really like that effect, rather than having like one post here, one post here, one post here, one post here. It's good to have them lined up. This brings us to what used to be one of my traffic circles, but this area was really jamming up, so I had to make a lot of alterations. So now the traffic circle goes like this, around here, then out and around here. Then I have this diverging diamond interchange, which works beautifully. I mean, this is really your gold standard for interchanges. It works a lot better than these traffic circle things. It's just that it takes a lot more space. But yeah, this area had an immense amount of traffic, and so I needed the diverging diamond interchange. And then here, I kind of tried a different thing. I just stuck a few traffic circles around with a 6-lane road connecting them. And then I had smaller areas. So this stuff to the left and the bottom, it's still not really developed. But we have some residential, some office, some commercial. Going back to the subway, I mentioned the subway came here to this transportation hub, moves over to big residential area here, and then it branches. There's one more that goes up to that office area, and then the other branch goes to serve this area. And each one of the bubbles of development between the major streets, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, has its own subway station, and I don't have any bus lines up here. That's most of the important stuff. You know what? Let's get to daytime, because we're almost to daytime anyway. Right here, and I'd really like to show this off more in the daylight. We have a nice positive balance, and that is even with citywide smoke detector distribution and recycling and free public transport and all that stuff. Yeah, another part of my transportation system is that I have a train station here that connects to a train station over here, with the idea being that people in this area of the city would travel the fastest if they took the train up to here, rather than taking the subway and stopping and stopping and stopping and stopping. In reality, very few people actually take that train. I'm not quite sure why. Yeah, this isn't working very well because of how little space there is right there. Tell you what, let's just delete that, and that'll make traffic flow much better. Yeah. So I've learned a lot of, a lot of techniques for making traffic circles flow better. All right, so now all the traffic, I guess, will be funneled through that intersection and that intersection. That's fine. That's fine. There's no problem there. All right, it is becoming daytime. So you can see, obviously, pretty big chunks of highway that are not under my control still, but I was able to, connect up to here. And then from here, this one lazy loop was already there, and I just made some alterations. Put in a trumpet interchange here. And over here, I just did some overall really weird stuff. Because I kind of needed an interchange, but I didn't really have the space because I built my grid up to the edge here. So, like, for example, here I have this this single road that goes under and then just hooks up to the highway there. And that's not a ramp, that is a two-way, two-lane road. So people can both exit and enter the highway from there. And then right here, we just have this teensy little bit of road to hook straight up to the highway. So obviously this would be very unsafe in normal circumstances, but it works okay for this. And then I also did stick some U-turn opportunities for U-turn here. For my freight, obviously we have a train station here. Almost all of my train tracks go underground. So you can see, here's a train coming up. Oh, I love how they look when they go around the bend. Yeah, I turned off the traffic signal at this intersection. Anyway, yes, trains go underground for the most part. We do have an interchange here, a triangle, which leads us to a cargo hub. And I'm so happy that this building exists. It's just so effective. You just have ships come in. So like this one, oh good, it's 100% full coming to the cargo hub. It just docks here, and then it usually doesn't even spawn any trucks. I did have to connect it to my grid so that the garbage could be retrieved. But, actually, let's put the speed on just 1 so that we don't go back to nighttime again. But yeah, it just generates trains, which is so much better than having trucks everywhere. Then this goes back underground. Actually, I could have done this a little more neatly, because it kind of goes up and then down again. I'm not going to take the time on camera to fix that. But that line leads to this cargo train terminal. So, I have a few cargo train terminals, including here at the very edge of the map. And have another one over here, also kind of at the edge of the map. It was pretty hard to... I just love how the trains get so confused. It's hard to cram all this in right at the edge, but I managed to do it. Still have a dam here. Actually, usually they provide more power output than this. That is suspiciously low, and you can actually see my water pumping stations are kind of inundated. They still work even if they're completely underwater, which is nice. Yeah, I don't know why the water level's higher than it used to be. It kind of fluctuates, I guess. I sort of like this effect. So this is, this lazy bend right here is the only access that I have to the train network. That's the only reason that I bought this tile, just to connect to the train system. So I quite like how this works. Ooh, how many people are coming in? 31, not very many. I quite like this because we have a bridge that goes across, and then it turns straight into a tunnel. Goes underground from there, and I did not, uh-oh, that doesn't look good. What? There's a random rail car that is stuck. Wow. Okay. Is that a recurring issue? No. Hopefully that was just one random glitch. Yeah, I didn't set up a separate internal and external rail network because they just don't seem to jam up as badly in this patch, in my experience. Everything seems to be working pretty fine. What else should I show off here? I really like this city. I've been enjoying playing it a lot more than I enjoyed Biketown, although this city is not really bike-friendly. I didn't use the bike lane roads, I used bus lane roads because I really wanted to try to make bus depots work. And I've decided they work reasonably well, but I still don't really like using buses in this game. I mean, even with a mod that gives them capacity for 90 instead of 30, they always just work terribly. Colossal Order badly needs to make a patch where the buses will automatically space themselves out so that you don't get... Well, actually, these are different lines, aren't they? Number 3 line, number 6 line, yeah. But often you get buses of the same line stopping one after another, so the first one is at 90, the second one might get to 90, and then you might have buses 3, 4, and 5 come through and just pick up no passengers, and it's just a complete waste. So they really need to just wait at a stop. Not to block other buses, but just, you know, pull ahead and just sit here until the other bus is a certain percentage of the route ahead. I don't know why they haven't done that. It seems like it would be pretty easy to implement. But it hasn't happened. Oh, I just realized this doesn't work very well. So they're all pulling in here and then making a U-turn. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Can I just, like, do... that, maybe? That seemed to do better. I'd have to have another train arrive to really get to test this out well. Let's see how this truck does. So he goes in there, alright. He comes out. Yeah, that'll work. I think that'll work just fine. They shouldn't conflict with each other. Whoops, what is that? Oh, a fire station. Yeah, we can move that. Well, my intention isn't really to be playing the game exactly right now. But just to say, I'm much happier with how I handled traffic issues. Oh, I actually quite like this one, too. So again, I had no room for a good traditional interchange here because we're right at the edge of the map. And so instead, I just connected a 4-lane road straight to the highway, and then I undergrounded this loopy section with some quite sharp bends in order to hook up to the other highway. And it works, you know? It works. So what am I missing here? No, this is all still connected, even though those wires are cut. Yes, that ended up being redundant. Alright, I think that's pretty much all I want to show off for this one episode. If you're interested in seeing more of this city and, you know, having me turn this into more of a proper Let's Play. Because again, this is the one that I've just been playing on my own. I don't think I want to return to Biketown because I made so many mistakes with it, and... you know, there are some messy things here, like how these highways all work. It's way too many interchanges in a short area here. But overall, this map has worked much more nicely. This attempt has worked much more nicely than Biketown did. So let me know if you want to see more. Alright, good night, sleep tight. Don't let the traffic bite. Bye-bye.